Our natural gestures and voice tone actually decline when we are trying to recall memorized scripts. This is the Voice Room Podcast, the show where your voice gets the upgrade it deserves. From daily conversations to high-stakes meetings, we are here to make every word count. Hello there, welcome back to the Voice Room Podcast. My name is Carina and I'm your host. If you're new here, I'm a voice, speech, communication and presentation coach. And on this podcast, we dive deep into the art of using your voice to lead, connect, and make an impact, whether you're on stage, in a boardroom, or behind a camera. For today's episode, we are going to talk about how to memorize a speech without sounding scripted. Because let's be honest, we have all been there. You spend hours crafting the perfect message. You practice it over and over, and then when it's time to deliver, you either forget key points or worst, sound robotic, stiff, or like you're auditioning for a high school play. So today, we are going to flip the script, literally flipping it, and walk through a method that lets you sound natural, connected, and confident without relying on your notes or the full script. Let's dive in. Alright, first thing first, why is it so hard to memorize a speech and still sound natural? It comes down to brain function. When you are trying to memorize word by word, you activate the part of the brain focused on retrieval, not connection. So your attention is split between what is the next line and how do I make eye contact and stay present. That's why even when you know your speech, your delivery starts to feel hollow or stiff. Hey there, a quick note. Enrollment is now open for the Voice Room Masterclass 2026. If you have been enjoying these episodes and want to take your communication skills to the next level, this program is for you. The next intake starts in June and spots are limited. So visit thevoiceroom.com/masterclass to save your spot. Now back to the show. According to cognitive psychologist Dr. Susan Goldin-Meadow from University of Chicago, our natural gestures and voice tone actually decline when we are trying to recall memorized scripts because our brain is in data dump mode instead of meaning mode, which is great for theater but terrible for real-life presentation, where you want to seem spontaneous, connected, and responsive. So the goal isn't to memorize every word. It is to internalize the structure so well that delivery feels fresh every time. Let's talk about how. I teach all my clients, especially those preparing high-stakes talks, to ditch the script and embrace what I call framework familiarity. Here is what it means. Rather than memorizing lines, you memorize the structure, the logical flow and key points, so you can express them naturally in your own words with flexibility. Think of it like this. If I asked you to tell me about your last vacation, you wouldn't need a script. You would just need a few mental anchors. For example, where you went, who you were with, what is the funny moment, what is the favorite meal, what is something that went wrong, what is something that surprised you. That's the framework. And from there, your brain fills the rest. You can do the same thing with your speech. Here is how to build a speech framework in 5 steps. Number 1. Write out your full speech once to clarify your thoughts. Number 2. Reduce it into bullet points outlined with key ideas only. Number 3, assign a trigger word or image to each section, something that reminds you of what comes next. Number 4, rehearse from the framework, not the script. Number 5, vary your language every time you rehearse, so you don't get stuck in a single phrasing pattern. This gives you freedom. You're not locked into an exact line, but your message stays consistent, sharp, and clear. Now let's take a step further. To really lock in your speech, use mental landmarks, like a story, a statistic, or a phrase that give you orientation mid-talk. For example, say your talk has 3 main sections: the problem, the shift, the solution. Within each, you might have one personal story, one strong statistic, one simple takeaway line. If you can remember those 3 pieces per section, your brain stays grounded and you are less likely to get lost or blank out. Here is an example. Let's say you are giving a talk about burnout in workplace. In your problem section, you might include the story. For example, my friend Anna once cried in the parking lot after work just from reading her inbox. You follow by a statistic. A 2023 Gallup study showed 76% of employees experience burnout at least sometimes. You follow by a line. We treat rest like a reward instead of a requirement. That's how you remember. And if you remember those 3 anchors, the rest will flow. Now let's talk about voice. Because one of the biggest giveaways that someone is scripted is monotone delivery, or perfect pacing, or 0 vocal variation. So how do we keep it sounding natural? Try this. Speak as if you are discovering the thoughts in real time. That slight sense of searching keeps your voice curious and alive. What about embrace the imperfections? Tiny stumbles, pauses, or filler words actually makes you sound more human and more relatable. How about vary your tone on repeat phrases? If you say, "We have to fix these" twice, say it once with urgency and one with warmth. Contrast create engagement. Pause and breathe. When you pause, your audience leans in. When you rush, they check out. And here's a trick I teach my clients. When rehearsing, imagine you're explaining to a friend over coffee, not delivering a speech. Notice how your tone softens, your face relaxes, and your rhythm becomes more musical. Do that, and your memorized speech won't sound memorized at all. Let's wrap up with some rehearsal techniques that really help this stick. Number 1, rehearse standing, walking, and using light gestures. Movement helps memory. Literally, it anchors thoughts in physical space. Record yourself, then listen back while doing something else. It helps your brain internalize and structure passively. Practice out of order. Start from the end, then the middle, then the beginning. This helps you stay flexible and not reliant on exact cues. Say it in 3 different styles. Try giving your talk like a TED speaker, then like you're exhausted, and then like you're overjoyed. This helps to shake up the language and makes it yours. Finally, practice with someone else, not for feedback, just to get used to speaking it out loud with energy and presence. Remember, the goal isn't to recite your talk. It is to deliver your message in a way that feels real, connected, and alive every single time. Thanks for tuning in to the Voice Room podcast. And if you found today's episode helpful, hit the subscribe button and share it with a fellow speaker or presenter or even a friend. And leave a comment. I would love to know what is your biggest challenge when rehearsing a speech. And also don't forget to follow us on Instagram at The Voice Room and LinkedIn at Carina Tien for weekly voice tips, behind the scenes, and inspiration to help you communicate with confidence. I can't wait to see you in the next episode. Until then, speak with clarity, breathe with purpose, and lead with your voice.